On a quiet evening in Arlington, Virginia, Major General Alicia Thompson, a decorated black female officer in the U.S. Army, stepped out of her SUV to grab coffee, unaware that a routine stop would ignite a firestorm. Two police officers, emboldened by prejudice, would soon mistake her authority for defiance, handcuffing her in a humiliating spectacle. But when Alicia made a single call to the Pentagon, the careers of those officers unraveled faster than they could have imagined, exposing a system that had shielded their bias for far too long. Alicia Thompson adjusted her jacket as she walked toward the coffee shop, her mind on the briefing she'd deliver at the Pentagon tomorrow. She was a major general, one of the highest-ranking black women in the Army, with 25 years of service, including deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. Her presence commanded respect, but tonight, she was just another civilian in a quiet neighborhood. As she reached for the coffee shop door, a patrol car screeched to a halt behind her SUV. Two officers, Officer Daniel Hayes and Officer Michael Brewer, stepped out, their hands already hovering near their holsters. "Ma'am, step away from the vehicle," Hayes barked, his tone sharp. Alicia turned, her brow furrowing. "Excuse me. Is there a problem?" "Your vehicle matches the description of one involved in a robbery nearby," Brewer said, his eyes narrowing as he scanned her. "We need to see your ID now." Alicia's jaw tightened. She'd heard this tone before, felt the weight of assumptions that had nothing to do with her character or career. "I'm reaching for my ID," she said calmly, pulling her driver's license from her purse. "But I'd like to know why you're stopping me. My vehicle is legally parked, and I haven't done anything wrong." Hayes stepped closer, his hand now on his holster. "Don't get smart with us. Hand over the ID and keep your hands where we can see them." Alicia held out her license, her voice steady. "I'm complying, but I'm also asking for clarity. What robbery? What description? I have a right to know." Brewer snatched the ID, glancing at it briefly before tossing it back to Hayes. "Looks clean, but she's acting defensive," he muttered, loud enough for Alicia to hear. "Defensive," Alicia said, her tone firm but controlled. "I'm asking reasonable questions. You've provided no details about this alleged robbery. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I expect to be treated as such." Hayes smirked, exchanging a look with Brewer. "You're not in charge here, ma'am. Step over to the car. We're detaining you until we sort this out." Alicia's heart rate quickened, not out of fear but frustration. She knew the playbook. Vague accusations, escalating demands, all designed to provoke a reaction. "I'm not resisting, but I'm not moving until you explain why you're detaining me. I know my rights." That was the moment the situation spiraled. Brewer grabbed Alicia's arm, twisting it behind her back. "You're under arrest for obstruction," he snapped, pulling out handcuffs. "Obstruction," Alicia said, her voice rising slightly but still measured. "I've done nothing but ask questions. You're making a mistake." Hayes stepped in, helping Brewer force her wrists into the cuffs. "Keep talking and it'll be resisting arrest too," he said, his tone dripping with disdain. The cuffs clicked shut, cold metal biting into Alicia's skin. A small crowd had gathered, some pulling out phones to record. She stood tall, refusing to let humiliation take hold. "You're detaining a major general in the United States Army," she said, her voice carrying authority. "I suggest you reconsider your actions." Brewer laughed, a short, mocking sound. "Major General." "Sure, lady. And I'm the president. Get in the car." They led her to the patrol car, where she sat in the back seat, her mind racing. She wasn't just angry, she was calculating. These officers had no idea who they were dealing with, and she wasn't about to let this go unchallenged. At the station, Alicia was placed in a holding area, still handcuffed. The desk sergeant, Officer Karen Walsh, glanced at the report Hayes and Brewer were filling out. "What's the charge?" Walsh asked, her tone neutral. "Obstruction, possible resisting," Hayes said, leaning back in his chair. She wouldn't comply, kept mouthing off about her rights. Alicia, overhearing, spoke up. "That's false." I provided my ID, complied with every request, and asked for clarification. I also informed them I'm a major general. They refused to verify my identity properly. Walsh raised an eyebrow, looking at Alicia more closely. Major General. You have documentation for that. In my purse, Alicia said. My military ID is there. I told them that at the scene. Walsh retrieved the purse from the evidence bag and pulled out the ID. Her eyes widened slightly as she read it. Major General Alicia Thompson, U.S. Army, she said under her breath. She turned to Hayes and Brewer. Did you two verify this at the scene? Hayes shrugged. She was uncooperative. Didn't give us a chance. That's a lie, Alicia said, her voice cutting through the room. I offered my military ID. You chose to ignore it. Walsh's expression hardened. Uncuff her. Now. Brewer hesitated, but Walsh's glare was unrelenting. He removed the cuffs, and Alicia rubbed her wrists, her gaze never leaving the officers. I'd like to make a phone call, Alicia said, her tone calm but resolute. Walsh nodded, handing her a phone. You're entitled to it. Alicia dialed a number she knew by heart. Colonel James Carter, her liaison at the Pentagon. It was late, but she knew he'd answer. Carter, a gruff voice answered on the second ring. James, it's Alicia Thompson. I've been detained by Arlington PD on baseless charges. They refused to verify my identity as a major general and handcuffed me in public. I need you to escalate this. Carter's voice sharpened. Detained. On what grounds? Obstruction, they claim. It's a fabrication. They profiled me, James. I need this handled. Stay put, Alicia. I'm calling General Hargrove now. We'll have someone there in under an hour. Alicia hung up, her eyes locking onto Hayes and Brewer, who were now whispering to each other, their confidence visibly shaken. Within 45 minutes, two men in suits arrived at the station. Lieutenant Colonel David Pierce and Major Sarah Gwynn, both from the Pentagon's Office of Inspector General. Walsh greeted them, her posture stiffening. We're here regarding Major General Thompson, Pierce said, flashing his credentials. We need her released immediately, and we'll be taking statements from everyone involved. Hayes stepped forward, his tone defensive. She was non-compliant, sir. We followed procedure. Pierce's eyes narrowed. You detained a two-star general without verifying her identity, despite her offering documentation. That's not procedure, that's negligence. Or worse. Gwynn turned to Alicia. Ma'am, are you all right? I'm fine, Alicia said, standing. But these officers need to be held accountable. This wasn't a mistake, it was bias. Pierce nodded. We'll handle it. Let's get you out of here. As Alicia was escorted out, she overheard Gwynn speaking to Walsh. We'll need all body cam footage, incident reports, and witness statements. This is going to the top. The next morning, the incident was the talk of the Pentagon. General Thomas Hargrove, a three-star general and Alicia's direct superior, called her into his office. Alicia, I've seen the preliminary reports, Hargrove said, his voice heavy with anger. This is unacceptable. I've already spoken to the Arlington PD chief. They're launching an internal investigation, but I want more than that. Alicia nodded. I appreciate that, sir. But this isn't just about me. This is systemic. Those officers didn't hesitate because they've done this before and gotten away with it. Hargrove leaned forward. I agree. I've contacted the Department of Justice. They're sending a team to review Arlington PD's practices. Your call last night set this in motion. I just did what was right, Alicia said. But I want to make sure no one else goes through this. Over the next week, the story broke in the media. Cell phone footage from bystanders showed Hayes and Brewer's aggressive tactics, contradicting their report. The hashtag Justice for General Thompson trended on X, with thousands demanding accountability. At Arlington PD, the internal investigation moved swiftly. Body cam footage confirmed Alicia's account. She had been calm, compliant, and clear about her identity. Hayes and Brewer's reports, however, were riddled with inconsistencies. Chief Robert Malone held a press conference, his face grim. Officers Hayes and Brewer have been placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. We do not tolerate misconduct, and we're cooperating fully with the DOJ. Behind closed doors, the pressure was mounting. The DOJ's Civil Rights Division launched a probe into Arlington PD, focusing on patterns of racial profiling. Alicia met with investigators, providing a detailed account of the incident. They assumed I was a threat because of my skin, she told the lead investigator, Maria Lopez. They didn't care about my rank or my rights. They saw a black woman and made their decision. Lopez nodded, her pen moving quickly. We're looking at their records. This isn't their first complaint. Your case is giving others the courage to come forward. By the end of the month, the investigation concluded. Hayes and Brewer were fired for misconduct and falsifying reports. The DOJ's findings went further, uncovering a pattern of discriminatory stops in Arlington PD. The department was placed under a consent decree, mandating reforms and federal oversight. Alicia received a formal apology from Chief Malone, but she wasn't satisfied. An apology doesn't fix the system, she told reporters. We need training, accountability, and consequences. I'll keep pushing until that happens. Her story inspired a national conversation. On X, users shared similar experiences, amplifying calls for police reform. Alicia testified before Congress, her voice steady as she recounted the incident. I didn't just call the Pentagon for myself, she said. I called for every person who's been profiled, harassed, or dismissed. This isn't about one general, it's about justice. Hayes and Brewer faced more than just job loss. Civil lawsuits followed, with Alicia and other victims seeking damages. The officers' careers were over, their reputations in tatters. Alicia continued her work at the Pentagon, her resolve stronger than ever. She mentored young officers, especially women of color, urging them to stand firm. Your voice matters, she told them. Never let anyone silence it. The incident faded from headlines, but its impact lingered. Arlington PD implemented new training programs, and the DOJ's oversight ensured compliance. Alicia's call to the Pentagon hadn't just ended two careers, it had sparked a movement. Years later, she would reflect on that night. I wasn't just fighting for myself, she said. I was fighting for the next person who might not have a Pentagon to call.